My beloved child, I am speaking to you right now because this moment was not an accident. You did not stumble upon these words by chance, and you did not find them because you were simply scrolling through the noise of your day looking for something to fill the silence. I brought you here. I arranged this moment the way I arrange all moments that matter, carefully, quietly, and with a purpose so specific to your life that if you understood the full weight of it, you would fall to your knees right where you are sitting. So before you let your mind wander to the next thing, before the familiar voice inside you whispers that this is just another message you have heard before, I am asking you to stay. Stay with me through every word that follows, because what I am about to speak over your life is not general. It is not a broadcast sent into the air for anyone to catch. It is a letter written to you, sealed with my name, delivered to this exact hour of your existence. You have been carrying something heavy for a very long time, not just the visible weight of the things you can name when someone asks how you are doing. I am talking about the deeper weight, the one that lives underneath your words, the one that makes certain hours of the night feel longer than they should, the one that follows you into the morning before you have even opened your eyes fully. That weight has a name, and the name is fear. Fear that things will not change. Fear that the effort you have poured out has been swallowed by a universe that does not notice. Fear that the ache you have learned to function around is simply the shape your life has taken and will keep. I want you to hear me clearly when I say this. That fear is not a prophet. It has never once accurately described your future. It has only ever described your pain, dressed up in the clothes of tomorrow. And tonight, I am dismantling the wardrobe. I need you to understand something about the season you have been living in before. I tell you about the season you are entering now. The season behind you was not punishment. I know it felt like it. I know there were moments, quiet and private moments, that you have not spoken aloud to anyone, where you wondered whether you had done something wrong, whether you were being passed over, whether the goodness you watched arriving in other people's lives had somehow been redirected away from yours. Those thoughts were not evidence of weak faith. They were evidence of a tired heart, and I do not shame tired hearts. I restore them. But I need you to release the story you built around the silence, because the story was never true. Silence from me is not the same as absence from me. A surgeon does not narrate every movement of his hands while the work is happening. The work requires his full attention, and so does yours. I have been in your life every single day of the season that felt empty. I was there in the morning you woke up and the fear was louder than usual. I was there in the afternoon you had to make a decision with less information than you needed and less strength than you wanted. I was there in the evening when you sat somewhere by yourself and the sadness came without warning, the kind that does not have a specific cause but only a specific weight. I was there and I was working. The work was not visible to you, but invisible work is still work. And mine is the most thorough kind. If you believe I have been present even in the seasons that felt most silent, declare your Amen right now. Say it out loud, because your voice is an instrument I gave you for agreement, and I want you to use it. Now I want to speak about what is happening in your body, because your body has been a faithful witness to everything your mind has tried to push through, and it deserves to be addressed directly. You have not been sleeping the way a human being is designed to sleep. I know this not because someone told me, but because I designed sleep, and I know what it looks like when it is being replaced with something else. What you have been doing in those hours is not rest. It is a lighter version of consciousness where the worries you managed to hold at bay during the day find the gap they were waiting for and move in quietly. You have lain still while your mind was anything but still, rehearsing conversations that have not happened, calculating numbers that change nothing by being calculated again, imagining scenarios that exist only in the dark and dissolve the moment light enters the room. Your body has been present for all of that. It has not been resting while your mind was working. It has been absorbing every thought, every spike of cortisol, every moment of bracing, storing it in your muscles, in the tightness across your shoulders, in the weight behind your eyes, in the low constant hum of fatigue that has become so familiar you have started calling it your normal. I want you to hear me say this with the full authority of the one who formed you. That is not your normal. That was never supposed to be your normal. And tonight I begin to correct it. When I say I begin to restore your body, I am not speaking in vague spiritual language that sounds comforting, but means nothing practical. I am speaking about the specific biological, cellular reality of how I built you, and how I am renewing what has been depleted. Your nervous system has been running on high alert for a duration. It was never engineered to sustain. It learned to do this because life gave it reasons to. Uncertainty asked it to stay ready. Loss asked it to stay braced. Disappointment asked it to stay defended. And it obeyed because it was trying to protect you, because underneath all the tension is a system that was only ever trying to keep you safe. But safety was never meant to look like a constant state of emergency. Safety was meant to look like trust. And trust is something I am restoring in you tonight from the inside outward. So as you receive these words, let your body be part of the receiving. Notice your shoulders. They have been up near your ears for longer than you realize. Let them drop. Notice your jaw. It has been holding something. Let it release. Notice your breath. It has been shallow, as if you were always preparing for the next blow. Let it deepen. Not because you are forcing it, but because you are finally allowing it. The tension in your frame is not structural. It is a posture your body learned. And what your body learned, my presence can teach it to unlearn. I am speaking peace to your nervous system the way I once spoke peace to a storm on a sea. And that storm obeyed the same voice that is speaking to you right now. Let me tell you what your healing is going to feel like so that you recognize it when it comes and do not dismiss it as coincidence or placebo or wishful thinking. It is not going to arrive like a single dramatic event that resolves everything in one moment. That is not how I typically work in a body. I work the way spring works, not with one loud announcement, but with 100 small mercies stacked together until one morning you step outside and realize the world has completely changed. One day you will wake up and notice that the dread that used to greet you before you fully opened your eyes is not there. It will be so absent that you will pause for a moment, almost searching for it out of habit, and then you will understand. One evening you will sit somewhere quiet and realize that the ache you have been managing and compensating for and working around has grown quieter. Do not dismiss that moment. Pause in it. Thank me in it. Because gratitude spoken at the sight of a healing seals the healing into memory. And memory is where faith goes to feed. Your energy is going to return, and it is going to return with a quality it has not had in a long time. Not the frantic energy of someone running on adrenaline who crashes at the end of the day. A steady, clean, consistent energy that flows evenly from morning through evening. The kind that allows you to think clearly, to move without that flinch of caution that pain and exhaustion taught you, to engage with your life instead of simply managing it. That is coming. It is not a promise I am floating out into the air hoping it lands somewhere useful. It is a declaration I am making over a specific body that I formed, and that I am renewing with the same intentionality with which I formed it. Now I want to address something that sits between you and the fullness of what I am releasing into your life. It is not an enemy that lives outside you. It is a quiet expectation that took up residence inside you after enough disappointments arrived. It is the posture of someone who has learned to brace even in good moments. You know exactly what I am describing. When something good arrives, there is a part of you that does not fully receive it. It stands slightly back from the blessing, arms not quite extended, watching for the catch, waiting for the condition, listening for the fine print. When your health improved in a previous season, part of you waited for the relapse. When provision came in a difficult month, part of you watched it suspiciously, holding it loosely because holding things loosely had become a way of surviving the loss when they left. That bracing was not weakness. It was wisdom developed in a school that had a very painful curriculum. But I need you to graduate from that school because you cannot fully inhabit a blessing while you are flinching away from it. You cannot hold open hands and tighten fists at the same time. I am not asking you to pretend the disappointing years did not happen. They happened. The hope that did not materialize was real hope, and its not materializing was a real loss. I do not ask you to rewrite your history or to perform an optimism you do not feel. I am asking you to make one distinction clearly in your understanding. Those years were a chapter. They were not a prophecy. The story of your past is not the forecast of your future, and the person doing the writing now is not the same combination of circumstances that wrote those chapters. I am writing now, and I do not write the same story twice. Here is what I want you to understand about the provision that is moving toward you. because provision is one of the places where misunderstanding causes the most unnecessary suffering. You have been waiting for something specific, a specific number, a specific open door, a specific resolution to a specific situation. And when what came looked different from what you were watching for, you sometimes missed it. You counted it as nothing arriving when actually something was arriving in a form you had not anticipated. My provision is not limited to the category you have labeled provision in your mind. It comes through timing, it comes through people, it comes through ideas, it comes through doors that look ordinary from the outside and lead to extraordinary things once you step through them. It comes through conversations you did not plan and skills you already have that suddenly find a new application. It comes through the thing in your hand that you have not yet recognized as the beginning of something. I have never needed abundance to make abundance. I showed a widow that the small amount of oil she had left could fill every vessel she could borrow. I took the lunch of a single child and fed thousands of people on a hillside without diminishing what I started with. I have never once needed more than what was already present in the hands of the one willing to trust me with it. So look at what is in your hand right now, not at what is missing, not at the gap between what you have and what you need, but at what is actually there. That is the starting point of what I am doing. That is where I like to begin. If you are willing to trust me with what is in your hand right now, say so out loud. Say, I trust you, Lord. Say it as many times as you need to until you feel the meaning of it settle somewhere real inside you. The change that is coming in your financial reality is not going to look like a flood, and I want you to understand why. A flood tears up the ground. It comes with tremendous force and leaves just as fast. And when it is gone, the field it passed through often needs more repair than it did before the flood arrived. I am not releasing a flood. I am releasing a stream. A stream cuts a path through rock. It feeds the land consistently. It does not come and go dramatically. It comes and stays and increases in its own steady way. You have had seasons of sudden increase before that did not last. And those seasons left a particular kind of discouragement that is harder to bear than ordinary lack, because at least ordinary lack does not give you a glimpse of something better, and then take it away. That cycle is ending. This time the provision I am releasing comes with something attached to it that the previous seasons did not include, and that something is wisdom. The wisdom to hold what comes, the wisdom to grow it rather than spend it the moment it arrives. The wisdom to recognize opportunity when it looks like an ordinary Tuesday rather than a dramatic announcement. The wisdom to build slowly and well rather than quickly and in ways that cannot bear weight. I am giving you the increase and the knowledge of how to steward it at the same time, because one without the other would be a gift that eventually becomes a burden. I want to speak now about what I am building inside you, because the outer transformation always begins with an inner one. If I poured abundance into an anxious mind, the anxiety would find a way to poison the abundance. If I restored a body and left the spirit that inhabits it unchanged, the body would simply find new ways to express the same interior pressure. So the deepest work I am doing in you is not visible work. It is the renewal of the way you think. The way you think about yourself specifically has been shaped by the longest and most relentless voice in your life, which is your own internal narrator. And that narrator absorbed the curriculum of your hardest seasons and has been teaching from those textbooks ever since. The version of yourself that narrator describes is someone who is always catching up, always slightly behind, always one unexpected problem away from things unraveling. That version of you is not a portrait. It is a product of pressure, and the pressure is lifting. I am giving you a different mind, not a naive one, not an unrealistic one that floats above difficulty without engaging it, but a mind that is led rather than chased. A mind that can look at a challenging situation and ask what is possible rather than immediately calculating how badly it could go. A mind that can sit with uncertainty without needing to fill the uncertainty with worst-case scenarios just to feel prepared. That is the mind I am building in you, and you will notice it taking hold in the coming days. Where there used to be a spiral, there will be the ability to simply consider, decide, and move. Where there used to be noise, there will be order. This is not something you will manufacture through discipline or positive thinking. It is something I am doing from the inside, and your only responsibility is to cooperate with it rather than fight it. Along with this renewed mind comes something I need to call by its right name, and that name is wisdom. Not information, not strategy, not the kind of clever positioning that the world calls wisdom, but that is really just sophisticated self-protection. The wisdom I am placing in you is the kind that knows which door to open and which to walk past without regret. The kind that recognizes the right person in the room before they have introduced themselves. The kind that feels the warning before the warning is visible and the pull toward the right path before the path has been clearly marked. You have had moments of this already. You have had experiences where you knew something that you could not have known through reasoning alone, and you either acted on it and watched it prove true, or you ignored it out of fear and later understood what it had been. I am sharpening that capacity in you. I am turning up the signal so you can hear it more clearly and respond to it more quickly. The ideas that will begin arriving in your mind in the coming weeks are not all yours. Some of them will feel like yours because they will arrive quietly and naturally and without fanfare. But they were placed there intentionally. Do not brush them aside because they seem too small or too ordinary or too simple. The most significant beginnings in the history of what I have built through human hands looked completely unremarkable at the start. A conversation, a question, a skill, a decision that required nothing more than saying yes instead of not yet. Great doors do hang on small hinges, and I am in the business of placing my hand on small hinges. There is something I also want to correct in the way you have been relating to rest, because the relationship you have developed with rest is one of the most quietly damaging things that the hard seasons produced in you. You have come to experience rest as something you have not quite earned yet, as something available to people whose lives are in better order than yours, whose to-do lists are shorter, whose situations are more resolved. You have treated your body's need for rest as a weakness to be managed, and your soul's need for relief as a selfishness to be disciplined away. And every time you pushed through when you should have stopped, you told yourself it was responsibility, that it was the necessary cost of getting things done. That rest would come later when things were better. I need to tell you plainly that this framework is not one I gave you. The burden of needing to earn your own rest was never placed on you by me. I designed rest into the very structure of creation, not as a reward for productivity, but as a fundamental necessity, a design feature, not an optional add-on for the successful. When I rested on the seventh day, I was not tired. I was modeling something. I was demonstrating that stopping is not failing, that stillness is not wasted time, that presence without production is still sacred. You are made in my image and you need rest the way I designed you to need it, without guilt and without the constant sense that you should be doing something else with the time. The rest I am restoring to you is not laziness. It is not avoidance. It is the ground floor of every recovery I have ever performed in a human life. Rest is where your body repairs. Rest is where your mind reorganizes. Rest is where the work I do in you goes the deepest, because you are not supervising or interfering. You do not have to guard the night shift anymore. I have taken it. Sleep is going to change for you. The hours that have been filled with calculations and rehearsed conversations will grow quiet. You will lie down and actually rest, not just pause between worries, and much of what I am building in you will be built in those quiet hours while you are still entrusting me with the night. I want to speak carefully and tenderly about something that I know is present in you even if you have never said it out loud to another person. It is the grief over time, not a person you have lost, although you may have losses of that kind as well. I am speaking about the grief over seasons, the years that felt swallowed by things you did not choose, the time that worry took, the time that illness took, the time that financial pressure took, the time that trying to hold everything together cost you. You have looked back at stretches of your life and felt the ache of what those years might have been if circumstances had been different. What you might have built, experienced, become, if the weight had not been so constant. I want to make you a promise about those years, not a promise that I will explain them to you in a way that makes the ache disappear, but a promise that I will repay them, not by turning time backward, because time does not move that way and I do not work against the nature of what I created, but by making the years ahead so genuinely full, so specifically fruitful in the areas where the lean years were most empty, that the lean years lose their power over the story of your life. The best chapters of your life are not behind you. I want you to hear that slowly and let it settle. The best chapters of your life are not behind you. They are pages I have already written that you have not yet lived your way into. And the person who will inhabit those chapters is not the person you were at the beginning of the hard season. It is the person you have become by enduring it, which is a considerably more capable and rooted and genuinely wise human being than the one who walked into the difficulty. Your endurance has produced something that ease never could have, and I intend to use every bit of it. As you move into the season I am opening for you, I want you to pay attention to the small signs that will appear before the large ones. This is how I work, and knowing this will protect you from dismissing the evidence that is already present. The first sign may feel too small to count. A door that opens when you were not sure any door would. A conversation that takes an unexpected turn towards something meaningful. A morning that begins without the weight that has been there for a long time. A moment of unexpected provision that is not enough on its own but feels like a signal. I want you to count these things, not obsessively, not in a way that turns gratitude into tracking, but with genuine acknowledgement. When you see the first drop of rain, you do not say that is not enough for a drought. You say the clouds are full. What I am releasing toward you is already in motion, and nothing in motion from my hand can be turned back. So when the first sign appears, do not test it by asking whether it is enough. Say instead, it has begun. Say it as a declaration. Say it as recognition, because the first sign is not the sum of what is coming. It is confirmation that what is coming has been set in motion and will not stop. I also want to speak about the people in your life, because provision and healing do not arrive only through circumstances. They arrive through human beings, and I arrange human beings the way I arrange everything else in your story, with intentionality and purpose. There are people I have already positioned in your path whom you have not yet met. There are people already in your life whose role is about to shift in ways neither of you currently understands. There are people who carry a piece of what you need, a connection, a skill, an open door, a word spoken at the right moment, and I am orchestrating the introductions and the timing. Some of the most significant moments of the season ahead will begin with what looks like an ordinary encounter, a brief conversation, an unexpected invitation, a return call that comes on the right day. I say this not to make you anxious about evaluating everyone you meet as a potential instrument of provision, but to make you attentive, to make you present in conversations rather than half present, to make you willing to follow up on the impulses toward connection that you have sometimes ignored. Because connection takes energy, and energy has felt scarce. The energy is returning. Use some of it on people. The return is extraordinary. Guard what I am doing carefully, however, and hear what I mean by that. Not everything that is growing in this season should be publicly announced while it is still taking root. There is a kind of sharing that celebrates, and there is a kind of sharing that disperses. When you take a seed out of the ground to show people it is growing, you interrupt the very process you are celebrating. Some of what I am doing in your life right now grows best in the quiet, away from the scrutiny of people who cannot yet see what I see, away from the well-meaning skepticism of those who love you, but are still looking at you through the lens of who you were in the hard season rather than who you are becoming in this one. You do not owe anyone a live broadcast of your transformation. Let the fruit speak when it is ready. Let the evidence accumulate until it is undeniable. And then let your life be the testimony rather than your words about your life. This is not secrecy. This is the wisdom of the gardener who does not pull the plant up to check the roots every day. Trust the process enough to let it complete. As provision grows and as your health returns, I want to address something that could, if left unaddressed, quietly undermine everything I am building. It is what happens to a human heart when comfort arrives after a long season of lack. The comfort is welcome and deserved, but comfort has a way, if the heart is not guarded, of shifting the eyes from the giver to the gifts. I am not saying this to put a warning label on your blessing, or to imply that enjoyment of what I give is something to be suspicious of. I am saying it because I have watched blessing become a snare for people who loved me genuinely during the difficulty, and then found that the arrival of ease quietly reordered their priorities in ways they did not notice until the distance had grown. You will not be one of them. Not because you are exempt from the temptation, but because I am telling you about it now, while you can hear it clearly before the abundance makes the warning feel unnecessary. Stay easily moved. Stay quick to notice small good things. Stay tender toward need when you encounter it. Because tenderness that survives prosperity is one of the most powerful things I have ever seen in a human life. The care you poured out during your own hardest seasons when you had the least to give was not invisible to me. Bring it with you into the full season, multiply it. Let what I pour into you flow through you rather than simply accumulating in you. A well that only receives and never releases grows stagnant. A well that gives freely and is continually replenished by its source becomes a gathering place. I want your life to be a gathering place. The way you speak about your own life in the days ahead matters more than most people understand, so I want to address it directly. Your voice was given to you as the instrument of agreement, not agreement with what your circumstances appear to be saying, but agreement with what I am saying over those circumstances. When you speak about your body, speak of it as something being restored, because it is. Not because speaking positively is a spiritual technique that produces outcomes through the power of positive thinking, but because I told you it is being restored. And when I speak, my words do not return to me empty. They accomplish what I send them to accomplish. When you agree with my word out loud, you are aligning your voice with a reality I have already set in motion. When you speak about your provision, speak of it as something growing. When you speak about your future, speak of it as something being held in good hands. This is not denial of difficulty. You are allowed to name difficulty honestly, but there is a difference between acknowledging a difficult present moment and rehearsing that moment as if it is a prophecy. Do not rehearse ruin. Do not use the instrument I gave you for agreement to practice agreeing with fear. Every time the old narration begins, you have the authority to redirect it, not by suppressing it or pretending it is not there, but by answering it with what you know to be true. The old voice described my past. My Father is writing my future. Say that. Say it as many times as it takes until the old voice runs out of steam, because it will. Voices that are not fed lose their volume over time, and I am teaching you to stop feeding that one. I want to speak now about the discipline I am developing in you. But I need to first redefine the word for you, because you have likely heard it used in ways that made it feel like punishment. Discipline is not a heavier yoke. It is not a stricter standard you will perpetually fall short of. Discipline is love with a direction. It is the capacity to know what belongs to your path and what does not, and the settled strength to choose accordingly without the drama of internal warfare every time. In the season you are entering, opportunities will come that look good, but are not aligned with where I am taking you. Relationships will present themselves that are comfortable but costly. Shortcuts will appear that would get you somewhere faster, but deposit you in the wrong place. The discipline I am building in you is the ability to recognize these things and to walk past them without prolonged struggle, not because you have no desire for comfort or speed, but because you have a clearer sense of what you are actually after. Fear used to make your decisions. Fear demanded answers before you were ready to give them. Fear created urgency where none existed because urgency felt like control. Fear is no longer your counselor. You are allowed to take a breath. You are allowed to ask me. You are allowed to choose slowly and well. And you will find, as this discipline matures in you, that almost nothing in your life actually required the urgency you gave it. Almost every good decision you have made was made when you were still enough to think clearly. I am giving you the stillness that produces that kind of clarity as a permanent feature of your interior life, rather than a rare visitor. Your sleep is going to change in ways that extend beyond simply feeling more rested in the morning. Sleep is one of the primary arenas in which I do some of my most significant work in a human life. In those quiet hours when your conscious mind has finally stopped managing everything, I speak in ways that your defended waking state sometimes cannot receive. I sort things. I integrate things. I bring the scattered pieces of your understanding into a coherence that your daytime mind can then work with. You will begin to wake up with clarity you did not go to sleep with. You will have solutions to problems that seemed unsolvable the night before. You will have a sense of direction about something you had been uncertain about for weeks. These are not random events. This is me working in the room I was given access to when you finally stopped standing at the door. Let me work. Sleep is not wasted time. Sleep is sacred time. And what I do in it on your behalf is among the most faithful work I perform for those who trust me. The transformation that is happening in you will not go unnoticed by the people around you, and I want you to be prepared for the different ways they will respond to it. Some will be drawn to what they see. They will notice that something has shifted before you explain it. Your face will carry less strain. Your words will land with more peace. Your presence in a room will feel different in ways that are difficult to articulate but easy to feel. These people will come to you with questions, and when they do, you will have simple and honest answers for them. You will not need to make your story dramatic or theological or complicated. You will simply be able to say, "I was in a dark place and I am not in that place anymore. Something happened, and it was real." That testimony, spoken plainly from experience rather than performance, carries authority that no prepared speech ever could, because it carries the weight of what was actually endured and what was actually changed. Some others will receive your transformation differently. People who have known you in the hard years carry a picture of you formed in those years. And pictures do not always update automatically when the subject changes. Some of them will still speak to you as if you live in the story you are coming out of. Do not argue with their picture, live into the new one. The evidence of a changed life speaks with a volume that no argument could match, and some of those who doubted will, in time, quietly come to you asking how. Be ready to tell them gently and without triumphalism. Your healing is not a verdict against their doubt. It is an invitation. And now I want to speak about what you are carrying in this moment that does not belong to you, because part of what I am doing tonight is a specific act of removal. You have accumulated weight over the years that was never assigned to you. Responsibility for other people's choices that you could not ultimately control, but felt accountable for. The debt of unexpressed grief that was never properly processed, because you were always needed somewhere else before the processing could happen. The accumulated fatigue of performing strength for the people in your life, while not allowing yourself to be a person who was also sometimes without strength. The constant background vigilance of someone who has learned that good things can disappear, and that it is better to stay slightly alert even during the good moments. Tonight I am removing the weight that does not belong to you. And I want to be specific about how this removal happens, because it does not happen the way you might expect. I do not reach in and forcibly extract it. I invite you to set it down. The difference matters because setting it down is something only you can do, and it is something that requires your actual consent, not just your verbal agreement. So I am asking you now, will you set down the weight that is not yours? Will you allow the grief that has been waiting to be processed to actually be processed? In the quiet hours, in the honest conversations, in the moments of stillness I am creating for you, will you allow yourself to be a person who is sometimes without all the answers, who is sometimes in need of the same care you have poured out so faithfully on others? You are also one of the ones I love. You were not exempted from receiving what you have given. Open your hands. As I bring this word toward its close, I want to speak one more time about what you are going forward into. Because going forward is what this moment has always been pointing toward. This was not a stopping place. This was a restoration stop. The kind that happens in the middle of a long journey where the traveler is given what they need to continue well. You are not stopping. You are being resupplied and renewed so that what is ahead of you can be navigated by a person who is whole rather than a person who is holding together through sheer will. The road ahead of you is real. It has real distance on it. It also has real provision placed along it, positioned at exactly the intervals where you will need it. Time to arrive when you are ready to receive it and not before. I am not rushing the journey. I am equipping the traveler, and the equipping I am doing tonight is not superficial. It goes all the way to the roots. Your faith is being strengthened, not faith as an intellectual position you hold about theological propositions, but faith as the actual lived experience of a relationship with a Father who has proven himself trustworthy in the darkest chapters and is now inviting you to watch what he does in the ones that follow. This kind of faith is not naive. It has been tested. It has sat in the hard questions and not been destroyed by them. It has the credibility that only comes from experience, and it is ready to be put to work in what is next. If you are watching this and something in these words has met something real in you, I want to ask you to do something that costs you nothing but means more than you might realize. Share this message with someone who needs it, not because a number on a screen validates the truth of what has been spoken, but because the person you are thinking of right now, the one who came to mind as you were listening, needs to hear what you just heard. They need to know that the silence is not absence. They need to know that the wait is not permanent. They need to know that they have not been overlooked, and they are not too late. You have the ability to be the person who places this word in front of someone who has been waiting for it. Do not underestimate that. And if this message has been a consistent voice of encouragement and truth in your life, if you return here and find something that meets you where you actually are rather than where everything is easy, then subscribe and stay close, like this message, so that others can find it. Not as a transaction, but as a testimony that says this was real for me and I want it to be real for someone else. Every person who finds this message found it because someone before them chose to share it. And that chain of generosity matters to me the way all generosity matters to me. Go now, my beloved. Go from this moment not with the same weight you arrived with. Go with what I have placed in your hands tonight, which is provision in motion, healing in progress, and peace that does not depend on your circumstances having fully resolved yet. Go with the knowledge that the shift has already begun, and that shifts I initiate do not reverse. Go with your head lifted and your hands open and your voice ready to agree with what I have said over you, rather than with what fear has been whispering. Sleep tonight without standing guard. Rise tomorrow without dread. And when the first sign appears, and it will appear, say only this: it has begun. Say amen if you receive everything I have spoken over your life in this hour. Say it out loud. Say it with your whole chest, because your Father has spoken and your Father does not lie. This word was prepared for you before you knew to look for it. Carry it gently, guard it in your heart, and return to it whenever the old voices knock, because they will knock and you now know exactly what to say to them. You heard your Father tonight, and what your Father says over your life is this: you are held, you are healing, you are provided for, and you are never, not for a single moment, alone. If this message spoke to you in any way, take a moment to type 777 in the comments as a sign of faith and agreement. Your comment also helps this message reach others who need clarity, strength, and perspective in their own journey. God bless you.